On January 12th, Elon Musk revealed a genius solution to save billions of dollars. Among the topics this billionaire mentions, reusability attracts a lot of attention, especially a part that is rarely talked about by most people, the fairing. Not only did he mention this, but Musk and SpaceX also pointed out extremely crazy statistics related to this particular component, and, well, that's what we're going to go over in today's episode of Alpha Tech, Fairing Recovery. Musk's presentation at Starbase only lasted around an hour, but it really brought a lot of information to the aerospace community, with an overview of achievements in 2023 as well as plans for 2024. In 2023, besides the strong development of Starship, we see Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy still playing a huge role in SpaceX's system. The dramatic increase in launch frequency compared to previous years clearly shows this. Thanks to more launches, booster landings and reuses also increased sharply, surpassing the milestone of 260 times. But as you know, the booster is not the single part that can be reused on Falcon rockets. The fairing, which is located on top of the rockets to help protect the payloads, is also a part that SpaceX has been trying to recover for a long time, and they have gained a lot of accomplishment in this task. Specifically, after talking about booster reuse as well as this year's launch goals, Musk added,
and then let's not forget fairing recovery, because actually a lot of people don't realize we recover the fairing as well. This was actually very difficult to recover the fairing. So it costs an immense amount of effort. But we now quite regularly recover the fairing, and we've reflown fairings 300 times.
Along with the speech, the presentation slide also showed interesting information. Around $6 million in saving per recovery. Reflown fairing more than 300 times. Altitude control thruster and steerable parachute. This can be said to be one of the greatest results that SpaceX has ever achieved. No less impressive than the other achievements mentioned before. In fact, this is made all the more impressive because, as Elon Musk said, recovering the fairing is extremely difficult, and reality also shows that. If the booster will only operate for about 2.5 minutes and then separate from the second stage to return and land, the fairings will operate for most of the mission until the payload is released at the planned region. We can look at the payload that Falcon 9 most frequently launches today, their Starlink satellites. These satellites operate at altitudes of more than 500 kilometers. Returning from such a high altitude is obviously very challenging due to the atmospheric resistance. SpaceX tried to minimize that influence by using parachutes to slow down the fairing's falling speed. But then another challenge came: how to recover those fairings. At the beginning, SpaceX decided to use two ships with a net system, Miss Tree and Miss Chief. They decided to use these two systems to catch the fairings when they landed. This is considered to avoiding the influence of seawater on the components when the fairings fall into the sea. But then this method gradually showed problems due to its complexity and low success rate. Fortunately, SpaceX realized this as they discovered that the effect of seawater on the fairing was not as serious as they thought, so they removed these systems altogether and just used ships with mounting cranes to salvage and recover the fairing. This is a more streamlined method and recorded higher efficiency. It's also still being applied to this day. Either way, we can see that SpaceX has made it their utmost effort in attempting to recovering the fairings. So why do they pay attention to this lone task so much? Well, as Musk once said, you have $6 million falling from the sky. Yeah, each Falcon 9 fairing costs $6 million, accounting for about 10% of the total launch cost of each flight. When considering the cost of space missions, the Falcon 9 comes in at about $67 million. If it's reused, the Falcon Heavy goes for $97 million, while many other rockets command prices in the hundreds of millions or even billions of dollars per launch. In this context, $6 million might seem relatively insignificant. However, when accumulated over an extended period, that seemingly modest amount transforms into an astronomically significant figure. Now, let's delve into some math. If we take Elon Musk's reference to 300 launches in the presentation, excluding fairing recovery, the cost to SpaceX would soar to a staggering $1.8 billion, a truly mind-boggling number. With this substantial sum, SpaceX could potentially execute an additional 27 Falcon 9 missions or around 900 Starship launches, assuming Musk's assertion of launching a Starship for $2 million holds true. The financial dynamics of space exploration indeed underscore the magnitude of these astronomical figures. Therefore, recovering the fairing is definitely a very beneficial economic solution, and with a company that is very focused on cutting costs, like SpaceX, they certainly will never ignore this. Along with landing the boosters, recovering the fairing has helped SpaceX reuse most of its workhorse rockets. Currently, Falcon rockets are still creating SpaceX's dominance in space missions, shown by the chart in the presentation slide when SpaceX has launched up to 1,200 tons of payload to orbit in 2023, while the rest of the world reached less than 400 tons. With those great capabilities, reusing fairings makes Falcon rockets more comprehensive than any other rocket system. It's not just about the cost. The 300 fairing recovery instances mark a potential revolution in the aerospace industry. In the over 6 decades since humanity ventured into space, fairings have typically been discarded, plummeting into the atmosphere to burn. This practice was understandable given the immense difficulty of recovering crucial components like boosters in the early days of aerospace exploration. Consequently, the fairing, a regular companion on most missions, became an overlooked part considered irreusable. This paradigm has persisted for the majority of organizations until now. Even behemoths like NASA, the world's largest national aerospace organization, are currently working on the SLS rocket for the Artemis lunar mission. While the SLS completed its maiden flight in 2022, a noteworthy achievement at that, it suffers from a significant drawback. It lacks reusability, and that includes the fairing. This limitation contributes to the exorbitant launch cost of the SLS exceeding $2 billion. And according to a report by NASA's Office of Inspector General, it can escalate to over $4 billion. When factoring in various other expenses, the financial scale of NASA's investment in the SLS is undeniably immense. NASA operates as a government entity, alleviating some financial concerns, but private companies like SpaceX face a different reality. Beyond pursuing the mission of advancing rocket launches for humanity, they must engage in profitable ventures to sustain their operations. Effective financial control becomes pivotal for survival, as inadequate management could lead to collapse and bankruptcy. Hence, cost reduction becomes a critical determinant for the success of any company. In the case of SpaceX, their strategy revolves around reuse. With over 260 successfully landed boosters, they have already saved substantial amounts. The recent addition of fairing recovery further contributes to potential savings amounting to billions. This figure, projected to climb rapidly with the increasing frequency of Falcon 9 launches, solidifies the foundation of SpaceX's success, a synergy of reuse and cost optimization. Looking ahead, SpaceX aims to elevate this strategy by achieving full reusability with their Starship, the world's largest rocket. This ambitious endeavor, unparalleled in the history of space exploration, is poised to be another milestone in SpaceX's journey, showcasing their commitment to innovation and sustainability in the aerospace industry. SpaceX will still have to do a lot before achieving that goal, but for now, they are well deserving of the title of pioneering organization in reusability. Landing boosters and now fairing recovery are all genius economic solutions that SpaceX created, and it's worth learning and applying for every aerospace organization in the world. The aerospace industry is growing more and more popular in the world. Humans will gradually break limits to go further into space and discover new realms. Those processes will require many things, especially capital. To exist in this race, the company that knows how to cut costs will be the winner. That's why reusability will still be a hot trend for the aerospace industry in the future. In that scenario, I believe that SpaceX will still be a pioneer in the reuse effort. They will continue to create new, exciting feats to consolidate Musk's saying, "Reusability is the key to a great future in space." That's all for today's episode. We hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. Please let us know, what is your take on the importance of reusability in the grand scheme of space exploration? Share your thoughts in the comments section down below because, as always, your feedback is very important to us and helps us make better videos for you. So for that, we thank you so much for watching, and we hope to see you again next time.